Thanks for staying with us. Our next guest is a special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Roads and Infrastructure, Engineer Aramide Adeyoye. She will be discussing the state of Lagos roads, what the current administration met on ground, what they have done, what they're doing, and plan to do. You can join the conversation on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. It's good to have you, madam.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies.
So,
for having me on your program.
Lagos roads. Many people today are complaining, especially the rains have come. And you see on social media, we know we had I think the permanent sec for the Ministry of Environment has come to talk to us several times on how we can ensure we clean out our drainages, so that, because when the rains come, they've been warning us since January, the rains are coming. But now the roads, as we see it right now, many people are still complaining that we have bad roads. Although we know the government is doing a lot in building roads here and there. Could you give us in a nutshell what has been done so far since Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration started?
Thank you, madam. So let me just go back down memory lane. In 2019, when we came on board, we made a solid state of the roads. So much so, we had to declare a state of emergency. That saw us getting 8 multinational contractors attack the problem, and then also with the Public Works Corporation, just to be able to stabilize. And in doing that, we told ourselves we will not do things in an unsustainable manner. So when you pick a major arterial, it was that bad. Even the major arterials were not spared. Ikorodu Road was one example that comes to mind, that you see massive craters on your major arterial from the airport. So we said, what do we then do? You have axle loads on these roads that are not controlled, so you don't have way bridges. The drains or the outfalls, because of our habits, we will never regularly dislodge. And so when the rains come, we always come with this. Most of our roads are in flexible pavements, they're in asphalt. And so in no time, because the drains are blocked, nowhere to flow, it comes on the roadway with the asphalt, and then it disintegrates. So we then said, we will take where we see that there is a drainage issue, we will address it and do that thing in a rigid pavement. And so that saw us taking road section from Lamata in Ketu all the way to Mile 12 in concrete. Also some strategic parts of Ikorodu Road in concrete pavements. And then the underpass tunnel at Odoyalaru, that's one perennial gridlock, which everybody, for several years, every time that they repair it, within 3 months, it goes back again. And so we did it in rigid pavement, and everybody can attest to the fact that in the last, at least so, over a year now, it's raining now because you're driving on concrete, the water just glides, you glide over it, and there is no pothole anymore. And so that's what we did to stem that, and then use our Public Works Corporation to begin to do a routine program that's called Zero Tolerance to Potholes. So you take inner roads and some critical networks and then begin to stabilize them. We also identified to say, okay, we must open up new roads. You must make every part of Lagos livable. So new openings, places like Ijede, we did it, opened it up. Places like Obashekumade Road, that's also a road that for the last, so that road has been built 3 times, and each time it has failed. It's failed because fundamentally we didn't address the issue. So we told ourselves there is no point. If we're going to build this in a sustainable manner, pick the problem, confront it frontally, and then deal with it. And so that's us. And what's the issue? It's a drainage issue. So Shekumade has a major outfall that goes all the way to Shagamu. Over the years, either because of the size and the capacity of the drains, we didn't do what we needed to do. But this time around, we said, no, we'll actually have the deck on power there. We'll have a lined canal. Together with the Office of Drainage Services, we've taken care of that. And in maybe in another 4 weeks or so, that road should be ready for commissioning as well. Okay. But we have sorted that, and it's done. We also said to ourselves, we will do some form of urban regeneration. Make every part livable. Areas that look like they are already in a deplorable manner, regenerate it. Create the networks into that place, and then in no time, developers will come, and that place, of course, improves. Okay. So I think we've done a lot in that sphere.
Okay. Obviously, 3 years down the line, a whole lot has been done in terms of rehabilitating the roads. This season, this is the worst season to come on TV for anybody doing what you're doing, because any little challenge that you still have is more exposed when we have rainfall. One of the biggest challenges we have in Lagos is most of our roads, most of Lagos is below sea level. And we have a bad habit. We're not clearing our drainages properly. So the good work that is being done, because I know the kind of work that went on Okwebi Road, but right now, today, I am very sure with this rain, Okwebi is flooded. So in our road construction, are we putting into cognizance the fact that we might need to raise the roads higher, or we're just trying to sort out palliative measures to temporarily fix the problem? Why exactly do we still have such level of flooding despite the fact that these roads have been done once or twice within the same administration?
Okay, so let me thank you for that question. Let me tell you something. A road is as good as its drains. If you do not have a good drain, that road will fail. And there are several instances. A typical one that comes to mind is Lekki Expressway. That road was done 40 years ago as a rural road. So you expect that you will use the runoff from the surface of the roadway, you will take chutes to carry it, and it percolates down the ground, and it's fine. It could survive for 35 years or 32 years that way. But the last 10 years has seen massive development along that corridor. People are built, so even the outfalls where it could percolate to are all blocked. So there is nowhere the water is draining to. And so in no time, the road is going to fail. So what you're seeing on a typical place like Lekki Expressway is a failure of the pavement because there's no drain. So as a government, we envisage that there are developments around that corridor. Lekki is the fastest growing corridor. You have, it's almost like the economic nerve center for Lagos now. You have the Dangote refinery, you have a lot of developments, you have Alaro City, so we then thought, we can't wait for this to catch up on us. What we'll begin to do is let us take it from Ekpe backwards and change the pavement, raise the road, create the outfalls, because there were no outfalls before. So that saw us awarding 18 months ago about 18 kilometers of that road from Ekpe to Lekki Junction. In another 2 weeks, that portion of the road in phase 1 is done. Anybody who is raining.
So you're still coming back. You're still coming backwards.
So we're coming back.
Oh, okay.
We're coming back. So it's in rigid pavement. It's not in flexible pavement because by our habits, we do not like the way bridges are there. There are checks for us to behave well, to correct ourselves. But because in this climate, we oftentimes, when the way bridges are constructed, we don't like to go on them. So people carry excess axle loadings that you cannot control. So one of the ways out was, okay, let's do this in rigid pavement, using the codes, put a factor of safety that even when they carry all of these excess loadings, the road will still survive. Right. So that's what we're doing, and we're gradually coming. Okay. And so for people around Lekki corridor, they wonder why have we not gotten to Aramide Adeyoye, because that's actually where it's supposed to end. So because it's a big chunk, infrastructure costs money. It costs money, particularly when you want it in rigid pavement. So we took it in bites. Okay. Let's do this first phase, and then we'll take the second phase, and then we can close up the third phase at Aramide Adeyoye, where the Fort Mainland Bridge is going to take off from.
I'm really, really sorry. I need to just still ask that question because I do real estate in that axis, and I can say for a fact that the population that we're seeing there is a fraction of what is going to happen, and we're not planning ahead with the roads. The roads that are being done are good, concrete roads, but they are small. There's already, I can foresee the kind of traffic that would happen in that.
So what you had initially was a 4-lane road carriageway. Right. What you have now, you have 6. You have 224, inclusive of a dedicated lane for the trucks, articulated trucks. So in total, you have 6 lanes, aside from your median, your road furnitures, and aside from your walkway, aside from your slip roads. So you see some houses that you cannot enter because it's a major expressway. You cannot just be crisscrossing. It's a transportation highway design thing. You must put those people on the slip roads that they come in and then ultimately get on merge.
The first time I'm hearing that. Slip roads, I like that. I like the sound of that. So I saw a video a few days ago on, I think, Ajala, Ijai area, and it was flooded to, like, massive flooding. I used to live around that area before, and I knew that the government had done a bit of the roads. It's not as bad as it used to be. But I'm wondering, what's the plan for maintenance? Because we do the roads, and then everybody goes away. And after a while, we realize that we are back to the first problem that we tried to solve. Is there any plan that you have mapped out to maintain this road, especially these ones that you are working on, yearly, quarterly, and like...
Okay, so we have, the public works, that's where the public works comes in. There's a unit inside public works that does see to desilting of drainages at critical locations. Ordinarily, it's a work, there's a gang, an effort gang in Office of Drainage Services where they desilt all of this. But we don't wait. When we see that there's a road that is going to be affected, we call the attention of ODS to it, or better still, the team from Public Works, they move in to be able to abate some of this and avoid failures on the road. A typical road that comes in mind is Ikosi Road. You will recollect that about 2 weeks ago, there was almost like a total cut-off of the road because there was a major outfall, there was erosion, a major outfall, and that road was actually going to disintegrate into two. So we moved in immediately and surveyed that. I tell people, once you don't have a drain, you don't have a road. It's simple. So that rain, because there was no outfall, when the intensity, the torrential rain coming, was actually going to cut off that road into two. So we came in, stabilized, and then we could move on. So there is a unit gang in Public Works Corporation that does that maintenance in collaboration and in support also together with the Office of Drainage Services. They also have an effort gang where they do that. If you build a road very well, I will tell you, there is no reason why that road should not last minimum 25, 35 years. If you do your regular maintenance, and I can tell you roads that typically this government, the state government, has built over the years that has survived and lasted. Typical ones like Adeyoye is one typical road.
Where is that?
That's in Victoria. That was done in 2003, so 19 years ago. Aula Road was done in 2020, so 22 years ago. Kudrat Abelawe was done in 1999, so you're talking about 23 years ago. If you have a road that is draining very well, and you keep checking all your outfalls, you keep cleaning your regular maintenance, well, asphalt does get tired, so at some point in time, you might mill it, resurface, but that road should survive.
Yeah. Let me get you.
Okay, so talking about, you know, all the work you've done and the fact that drainages are important, there's this road, like when we're leaving here now and you're driving towards the third mainland, you know, there's the road that veers off to Bagada Express.
Sholui, that's goes into Sholui Estate.
So, right, so there's work that's been done. This particular area I'm talking about, there's like a valley of sand and rocks. So above it are, you know, houses. But there's a sharp
so embankment.
Good. Yeah, I think it's a man-made embankment actually. And then on the other side of the road, so there's a road in between. The other side of the road is like a huge field. And on this particular day when it was raining, there was water just coming down this slope and water from the field onto the road. So water from two places. And for me, I feel that if this was maybe like 5-hour rain or something, it would cause serious, you know, issues.
Okay.
Because just like a 2-hour rainfall, many cars were already submerged. It was just really the big SUVs that, you know, were able to pass through. Are you aware of this road and what's the work and when is it going to start or finish?
Okay, so I'll tell you now. What you're talking about, that's a part of the Third Mainland Bridge. That road is a federal road. You're veering back into Bagada Express. Yeah. And I think I know the particular spot you're talking about. So you have this embankment, like a 5-meter embankment, that is not slope protected, which means each time there is erosion, you will find the rain erode the material, and it comes in, it clogs into the drain, it gets filled up. When that is done, it then comes on the roadway. The sizing of that trapezoidal drain is an issue. It's a federal road, and I think with the Lagos State government, we've approached federal government to say, you have an issue here. Let us see your solution to this problem. Whoever is the contractor that is working for you, let us look at all of the figures, the sizing, and then tell you what exactly would work for this area. Because obviously, your rainfall intensity over a return period, depending on what they've used for their design, we find that it looks like it's inadequate, and you need to increase the sizing. We've done that, we've lodged that complaint, and I think they're taking note.
All right, let me, because you mentioned this issue of federal road is a major problem we have. Because many times we're having this conversation, they'll tell you, oh, this is the federal road, you can't touch it. And I'd like to link that up to the Badagry, because when you came in, the first one you asked for was Nima. And I can understand why, because when we came here for Nima, but Nima is not here today. But she's always consistently complained about that Badagry corridor all the way to Badagry itself. That road, and when we talk to people from government, they say, oh, it's federal road. Dangote came the other day, the presidency was there to come and check up the roads. What is the status of that road? Because you are building the blue line, the rail line to that axis. It's not yet ready. People in that area are having difficulty coming to work on the mainland. So what's been done?
Okay, thank you. So I agree with you. That's one stretch that is, it looks like it is huge. But with planning, I think we can achieve it. So from Eric Moore National Theatre Junction to Badagry Main Town is a 60 kilometer. The concession we have as a state is on 22 kilometers, ending at Okokomaiko. The remaining 38 kilometers is in the purview of the federal government, which they have concessioned under the HMI program. But on the 22 kilometer where the state is working, we are almost rounding up our own side of it. Before the end of this year, we will be done with our segments from Teneziro to Okokomaiko. Okay. Beyond Okokomaiko, it's a federal government thing. We do not have concessionary rights in that corridor, and you cannot...
Can you get concessionary rights?
So there's steps and procedures to it. And if you recollect, the minister said that if you do work on our roads, first you need to get approval before you can work on our road. And even as a state, when you work on it, you need to inform us, and then we will not even refund your money. But we realize that Lagosians, you can't keep explaining to the citizenry that this is the federal road, this is the state road. So we go sometimes to say, come, in the interest of the people, let us go do this. And every time we do this, Surah, when you're ramping up to Surah, that place about 3 weeks ago or so, because it was causing traffic, Public Works did go mill up the whole place, did the asphalt. So what we do is, for the sake of the citizenry, we just catalog all of the things that we have done on the federal side, and we leave it till the day when we can do negotiations to say, we did resurface for you on Marina, over 6,000 square meters, just to make people be able to go. We did this for you, we did this for you, and then we show you the dates, the photographs, and then, of course, we will resolve it at some point in time. But we consider the citizenry, and that's what we do.
Because it sounds like bureaucracy. The Nigerian problem is a bureaucratic issue where paperwork, we have no concession, we're not concession to do this. I mean,
we consider the citizenry as first. So we go back and say, irrespective of what this is, we'll document it, because we cannot afford to go back and tell people this is why we didn't do it.
For the sake of information, for the reason this we will not pay you back issues happened was because for a long time, states were asking, we did 1 kilometer road for 1 billion naira. And they're expecting the federal government to just refund them those monies. So they had to just put a bit of check to it. Of course, there's room for improvement, but my concern, Nima has said this thing on the show, I have experienced it. My parents live in Mile 2, and because I went through First Stack and I was coming back, there was no turn-off. I made the huge mistake. I went to Trade Fair and I got on the express. And there was no way to turn off from the express. I had to drive all the way to Orile before I could get off the express. The roads are ramped off. The service lane, by the way, is, you have what do you call those? Tankers parked on the service. So you cannot even stay on the service, because if you're on the service and you're stuck there, you can be there the entire day. Now you come on the express, you cannot turn into, you can't veer off at all. There are just very little turn-offs from the expressway. Why was that designed? Because people like driving on that road feel like it is structurally impossible. The framework is not favorable and it needs to be reviewed.
I'll let you answer that question after this break. I'll let you take it. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view.
Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, you asked the question. I like
was there a design flaw in that place?
Okay, thank you. Lagos-Badagry Expressway was conceptualized in 2009. It's a major trans-highway national route, so it's a major expressway. It's not a metropolis route. So because it's designed as a major trans-highway, West African highway route, it doesn't allow for crisscross. I think we need to understand the philosophy of the design and then know exactly what it is. It is not a design failure. It is intended to behave and function in that capacity. What you have, it's a failure of the parallel roads. Because there are parallel roads that you shouldn't come on the expressway. You should ideally use those back-end roads. So a typical road will be that when you leave Ijora Causeway, you go to Sarigomu, you take Musafejo, Alaba, you come out, you pass through signals, or you come out to Mbakado. So those are back-end roads that you take. You don't come on the expressway believing that you want to come. So once you leave National Theatre, you come to Orile on the service lane, and that's why there are service lanes. So you have a 2-lane service lane, you have your 2-lane major fast lane, and then, of course, you have your rail in the middle. That's why it's a 10-lane expressway. But our habits again and again. The service lane is where you find the yellow buses park and pick people. And that, in fact, there are no two lanes anymore. It's just half lane. With the result that people are then forced to go on the major one, and then there is no allowance for them to just get off. But if you are on the service lane, you can get to side streets and side roads. So it still boils down to our people, our habits, the way we are, which we must change.
But in solving the problem.
Solving the problem. Yes. So, Old Ojo Road. Old Ojo Road, and that's where people in Satellite Town, they cry to say, it looks like they have been abandoned. The state government is doing all it can to address all of these issues. So for Lagos Badagry, it's not just, and I keep saying it, first, we must get the fundamentals right. There are no design flaws. That's the way the road is. Secondly, we do not have the whole 60-kilometer stretch to do. We have concessionary rights only on the 22-kilometer stretch. What goes beyond 22 is a federal government issue. So when I hear comments like, from Okokomaiko, Aramide going down, it's because...
But let me address that very quickly, because I know that the Minister of Works was in Lagos recently when he went to inspect, and he said that he was complaining about the theft of materials from those in that corridor, saying that some of them took sand from them and to go and build their own houses. So he has asked the government and the people within that area not to steal the materials, and has also assured the people within that area that the first quarter of 2023, that road will be ready. So if indeed your government does to Okokomaiko, we're hoping that by early next Q1 next year, the other roads will be ready, and we'll hold on to the minister for that.
The minister is very right, very, very right. I can tell you as a government, one of the difficulties or challenges that we have is people taking ownership.
Yes.
You have infrastructure that you have provided, the contractor is even yet to hand over. You find people come in, pick up the slabs overnight, break them, and remove the reinforcement in them. They cut the bases of tubular steel pipes, street lights for sale.
Yes.
They put it in the scrap market. Yes. They do it.
The iron, they over the gutters. They steal those things.
The gratings exposing people to danger while they're even walking or walking on the walkway. So these are things that we see on a daily basis. And as a government, that's why we say take ownership. We just don't want to build for you. We want you from day one, take ownership, take it as if it's your... After all, this money is funded, these projects are funded with taxpayers' money. It's your money.
I'll come to BC. Let me take this call and hold it for a while. Juliet, are you there? Malima Shaw.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I really want to ask, first of all, I want to commend the government of His Excellency, Bishop. Okay, so what she has really taken so much to the plea that is taken there. So, but the question I actually ask is, what is Lagos State doing to ensure that community roads are well fixed? Because
community roads are well fixed.
The community roads here in Ashore, if you go to the community, you find out that there are so many places, there are so many roads that are visible. So what is the Lagos State doing to ensure that the community roads are well fixed? Thank you.
Okay, did you get that?
Community roads.
I think if I got her very well, what is the state government doing to ensure that inner roads are being done? Because where she lives in Alimosho. Okay, so madam, thank you for that question. But Alimosho, I would even say Alimosho is a favored one. In Alimosho, you have had this in the last 2 years, major arterials, so you've had Ishuti Road. That's a 6-kilometer road that leads to the jetty. Done. Ready for commissioning any moment from now. You've also had roads like Ishuti, about 3.5 kilometers, done. Currently, we're doing Akesan-Obadore, done. So there are roads that you're fixing that will ease connectivity, and they also speak to this government's intent of the intermodal transport system. If you know, there are state roads and there are also local government roads. So what we're doing as a state is pick those major state roads, get them fixed. Use the public works to also do some of the inner roads, while we also expect some form of cooperation from the local government side to also address. The local governments also have the works department that they can also take on some of these roads. And some of them they're actually living up to the expectation. In Ajegule, the chairman there is, because it tells you what his program is, what he can fix. It will share with you. Do you, by chance, are you going to be able to do another one in the next season? Also, the solo, I think 1 or 2. So I always implore all of local government chairmen to say, come up with your program. What exactly do you want to fix in your locality? So that the state government will then come on and then add on more. Yeah. So because it's a collaborative effort.
So I have a few.
So I'm going to round up on because we didn't quite finish the Lagos-Badagry Expressway.
So should I just read out the tweets about that Lagos-Badagry Express so that you just respond to it at once?
Thank you.
So this person says that, Lagos-Badagry Expressway, this is flourish for. Between Okokomaiko and Afromedia is bad. The suffering is too much. The road construction company blocked the partially completed site, making people to lose their property as there's been, and they also get robbed the moment that there's traffic.
Okay, so that's something to take on board for the federal side, because I said the limits. And like I said, the citizenry, they can't differentiate what's the federal road or what is the state road or where are the limits.
We don't care, really.
So it's something, when we take all of this feedback between the director of works from the federal side and myself, we interact and we tell them all of this and they know exactly what to do. I feel for everybody living there, I wish that project had finished before now, but it's something that both governments, both on the federal side and the state, were working assiduously at doing. Okay. So to the side roads, what we're doing is to ensure that the roads backing the main ones are functional. Aside enforcement that you can go on the service lane to the places where you are going to. When you go on the main express lane, you do not have opportunity for a detour. If you take it, the next place you would go in is at mile 2 that you make your turn in.
That's terrible.
Because you have to understand the philosophy. It's a major trans-highway route. It's not a metropolis, your inner road.
Yeah. So those sides, the service lanes, for example, why can't we get the good boys of Lagos, to clear it for us so those buses don't stop on the road? Because we're saying there are no jobs. But the boys are available. Let us engage them to clear those places. It's clogged up.
That's one thing that LASMA, the Minister of Transport, together with Drainage Department, are working at. I can tell you something. Nigerians, sometimes it's a bit difficult.
Oh, of course, to govern us.
We know, don't paint it nicely. We know.
I think it's not because government does not have the will. We have the will.
Yes.
But LASMA would go in today, they will succeed, but they will come back the following week.
Yeah.
I think it's an attitude that we need to sit, and maybe it's training.
The local government, man. The local governments are ineffective because the local government must show that, yes, I am in charge. This is my local government. This because you know your boys. They live there. You know their mothers. You know their lives. So local governments are ineffective because if we have them very effective, they in the Mile 12 area, they can handle them. Yeah, not the state government.
I agree with you.
So my area that's something that it's good feedback. And we'll see what we can do to that.
Yeah, so I have...
so the parallel roads around Ojo, Road, very soon, together with the Central Bank of Nigeria, because that's a road in rigid pavement. And you ask, why are we doing it in rigid pavement? That's a major tank farm area zone.
Yes.
The number of trucks that daily load on from the tank farms, you will not believe the numbers.
And Lagos is making money.
Lagos is not making money. To fix that, the road is in billions. It's in rigid pavement. It's a 7-kilometer stretch. But as a government, we know we see the sufferings, we know it, and what we decided to do was pick up the major route that goes to the tank farm. Okay. Muniri Bubamara Road. It's called Muniri Bubamara Road. It's in rigid pavement. But one of the difficulties or challenges of working on that road is that 24/7, they are always loading.
It's hard to work.
It's hard to work. So what do you achieve as your output under that circumstance? Because your traffic management plan in a place where everywhere is all clogged. So one of the things that we say to the stakeholders is engage between the tank farm owners, between the local governments, between the satellite tank owners, to say, let us agree on the time for loading so that the contractor knows I can only work within this hour to this hour and fix. That way, we'll be able to reduce the construction.
Let me take this call. Yakub has been holding for a while. Sorry about that, Yakub. Good morning. You're live.
Yeah, no problem. But you are going to send me 100,000 cash.
No.
Yeah. Good morning, madam. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Let me just say one or two things quickly. The last caller mentioned about community road. Yes, I can speak for Agege local government here. To be sincere with you, Agege local government, our able chairman is really, really trying to be sincere. I can count almost 8 streets that is on construction as I'm talking to you in my area. At the same time, the work is going on simultaneously. And then about the people that cut away the materials, Madam, I can tell you for free, do you know those laborers that the people that are giving the job done, giving those guys that come and help us do some certain things, they will come back midnight and begin to cut away those things. And then even though they sold it to the people living in the community, and then the people living in the community, they cannot just go there and pick it on their own. If the people that is working there are not support them, that is one. And then the other thing about our express road, Madam, the truth must be saying here. The people that cause major hold up in Lagos State, it is NUR2W. Why am I saying that? Just go and check in Yanopada under bridge. There is no buses, at that particular place, no garage. These people will stop the yellow bus at the middle of the road. You that you are driving back, you don't know what is happening. When you go there, you find out that it is NURCW that stopping those yellow bus and collecting the money. And then I think 2 months ago or last month, that the government, the judge, they've given the judgment that these people should stop collecting this money, but they are still continue. What are you doing to that? Good morning. God bless you.
Thank you, Yakub.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yakub. Like I said earlier on, it's a collaborative effort between the state government and the local government chairman. I'm glad that you said it truthfully that Agege local government is doing well. A lot of the constituency roads also are in Agege. So Agege, just as we did the Pen Cinema, there are a lot of complementary roads all around. And that's what we do. We look at a whole locality and we try to complete the whole network. It's the same thing also in Ekpe. As you're doing all of those segments, the main arterial, you complement the clusters. In Alimosho, it's the same thing. Once you take a major one, you go back, the clusters you clean. And of course, I understand that you cannot fix all of the inner roads at a go. That's why the public works is there. And they're trying their best within the limited resources that they have. So the focus is on them, that all of the inner roads must come on stream at par with the standard, close to the standard that you have on the major arterial roads. So that's something for us in Ministry of Works.
So NECA,
that's something that we're working at. I know it's an issue,
yes,
but I know that the modality, there's something that we're working out.
Yes.
And I'm sure very soon the state government would react and announce.
So NECA says here the whole of Ejigbo LCDA does not have any good road. The road towards Ajao Estate from NNPC is becoming bad. He said that Minister Fashola fixed it at some point, but it's gone bad and yet there's no maintenance. And I also wanted to ask, for the inner roads that are being worked on, what is the quality control? How do you ensure that they use good materials to fix those roads so that not after a few months we still have the same potholes that we've had before?
Okay, thank you. So Ejigbo is, that part of NNPC is on the federal side. I recollect that, like you said, the minister, they fixed it and it's not. When you have articulated trucks carrying 80 tons for a road that is designed to take 30 tons, it's in no time, this is pure science. The road will give way. So one of the things that we did as a government coming on board, first set of things that we did was to establish the standard operating procedures that people will know that if you want to build a road, this is exactly what it takes to build. From the right-of-way acquisition to the stakeholders meeting to the design, the outfalls, who is signing off on each of the issues, ODS for the outfalls, physical planning for the right-of-way, works, your design, everybody must sign off. So those SOPs were signed. As a cabinet, we did, so those SOPs were passed. And it's a guideline for everybody that wants to work. In addition to that SOP being passed was the KQC. For any contractor that will come to the Ministry of Work, the quality assurance and the quality control. And it goes right even from the kind of material you want to use, the specification. So we changed the specification of even semi-rigid pavements, no longer from 30 MPa to 45 MPa. It's not just even the compressive strength, also the splitting strength. To say even if you want to do interlocking pavements, this and this are the standards that it must have and the quality. So that when you use it, we're not having to repeat this road in the next 1 year. Right. So those quality assurance were there. As we did that, even for our own Public Works Corporation, we established an in-house laboratory where the controls are there. The Marini plant, for the first time in 10 years, we did a turnaround maintenance. All of the consoles that were not working, we fixed them. So that when you say you are producing asphalt of this quality, you know exactly the quantity of bitumen that you have poured in, that your gauge, your dial gauge, everything functions, it works. And then it also went into a lot of R&D. So the Public Works Corporation, can actually produce cold patch asphalt. It's raining now. If I'm compelled to do cold patch asphalt, I can lay because I have capability.
Okay.
So those are some of the things that we have done for the standards. And then capacity development. As an engineer, you must know what you're watching out for. Otherwise, you get to a site, you don't even know. You're blank. So the last 2 years or 3 years, we've done a lot of capacity development in Ministry of Works as well as the Public Works.
Capacity development?
For the engineers. For the engineers. For training.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mary.
So this one may come from maybe a little bit selfish point of view, but I sometimes wonder if the Lagos State government sort of puts into consideration people's lives, livelihood, mental, emotional, state in doing these routes. Because I live on Western Avenue. The bridge, as we know, underneath it, when that fire happened, that's the Eco Bridge. There's work going on, so it's blocked on that axis. Then there's work being done at the Tejo Show area. Then blocked. Then, just different places. And it seems that for me to be able to get my child to school now, we have to wake up much earlier than normal. And I was wondering if, the government could look at when they're doing roads like that in such a way that it gives us a little bit of, leeway so that we can still go about our lives without just sitting in traffic with children for hours on end, especially in the rainy season.
Okay, thank you. So I would say something. I feel the pain for Nigerians when they're in traffic. I sincerely apologize. We go through the same. On Thursday, I was on the Lekki Expressway corridor for 5 hours in that traffic. The Commissioner for Transport was equally in that same traffic. So I experienced it. It's not as if we go about in chopper or helicopters. We go through it. But one thing I must say is this. Disasters don't tell you that they're going to happen. But you can mitigate, you can avoid them, you can mitigate. So when we say the bridges are not places for people to stay under, in normal climes, underneath the bridges are not where people stay. You don't put fire, you don't want to roast corn or roast things underneath the bridge. So invariably, it looks like we use our hands to destroy ourselves. So when people go in and they destroy, because nobody knew that Kwamo Bridge was going to be burnt. It came as we were still battling, we were still trying to, because we just managed to come out of Third Mainland Bridge. And even at that, the federal government has not finished the work for the underwater concrete. They were still doing some investigations underneath the bridge, underwater, at least away from the surface that people could go over. Only for them to hear this one happen. They had just managed to do Apako Oshodi. Apako Oshodi was also one that the trailer tanker that caught fire underneath the column. So it looks like we do not have money. Before you finish one, another one happens. And so the program of the one at the Yaba Junction, the rail being done by Lamata, was ongoing. Yeah. Nobody foresaw what was going to happen for the Akpogbo. So it's difficult for you to say government should tell us and let us plan, because we didn't plan for the Akpogbo. Well, we didn't plan for the Akpogbo.
I understand, but even before the Akpogbo Bridge,
and then even for the federal government, the Third Mainland Bridge, the time they want to start is not something you have control over. It's subject to provisions in the budget when they have the money. Funds. So when they tell you we have reasons to start this work now, you need to collapse your own program, shut it in, and make sure everything fits into it.
That's what we do. So it's ongoing. It's ongoing. It's going for a long period of time. But I don't want to even dwell on that, because I understand that the government is doing its best to make sure that this, happens. And so my last, to end it up is, what do you think in an ideal situation, like after doing most of the work, what would you like to see in, let's say, 2-3 years, so that we are not constantly trying to catch up? Instead, government is on the part of maybe just maintaining, and so what needs to happen in 2 or 3 years for that to happen?
Thank you. I think as a government, one thing we preach and we say is this. The vision that we want on this infrastructural growth, we know. We've demonstrated it even in the way we funded. The last 3 years has seen the budgets on infrastructure provision go up by as much as 25%, from 105 billion to 123 billion, 126 billion, and now this current year, close to 156 billion. So that tells you it's a deliberate investment in infrastructure. But we must, if we are doing this, the citizenry must also take ownership. Ownership, we must respect right-of-way acquisition. When they say, this is the plan of government, I want to come and build a Fort Mainland Bridge, and I'm going to start from here to here. I have acquired and gazetted this corridor. It behoves the citizenry to respect that sanctity, to say, government will come. It doesn't matter if they don't come in the number of years they say they will come, but they're definitely coming. Because when people violate it, you make it difficult for us to come back whenever we are ready to come and build.
We have to
and more importantly, it's that ownership. Even the little one that we have done, it's for people to take ownership. When you see infrastructure being abused,
I think we need to bring you back, Ma, because there's a lot of conversation around ownership.
Yes.
I feel that, I mean, as I said it a lot, we've realized that many human beings can act like animals, but we need some kind of enforcement to get them to work towards us. So
I must applaud
we need that,
though.
so we have to. But thank you very much,
I don't envy your job.
It was a pleasure.
And you displayed so much competence in the way you broke down. Thank
all right,
you.
that's all we can take. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Thank you.